2, so it's time to start. Some technical issues. So welcome to our EUSBSR Annual Forum 2022 site event. My name is Henri Nikkonen and I'm from Jon Nurminen Foundation, where we work on various projects to save the Baltic Sea. And today we will have very interesting seminar where the focus is on improved nutrient management in biogas production and utilization of new biomass sources for sustainable bioenergy. We will hear findings from 2 different EU-funded projects tackling these issues, and afterwards we will follow a panel discussion of guest experts we have invited here today. We will start with the project presentations. First, the findings from the Sustainable Biogas project will be presented by project manager Maija Salmiovirta from Jon Nurminen Foundation, together with senior officer Pekka Paavilainen from the Center for Economic Development, Transport and Environment, also known as ELY-keskus. This will be followed by Virginia Gargait's presentation on Biomass for Value project. And Virginia Gargait is a Deputy Director for International Affairs at the Bioeconomy Research Institutes of Vytautas Magnus University based in Lithuania. And she coordinated this Biomass for Value project. In the panel discussion, we have 3 participants, and they are representatives from the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, the Finnish Biocycle and Biogas Association, and Gasum Company. We have reserved a few minutes of time for questions after both presentations, and we ask the online participants to write their questions to the chat field from where we will pick up the questions for the presenters. And if we run out of time, we will do our best to tackle the questions later. I hope that we are recording this event because that was the plan, and the purpose is that the people who can't attend today can watch it later. So that's all my instructions, and without any further words, I hand over the stage for Maija Salmiovirta. Welcome.
Thank you, Henri, and good afternoon from the beautiful Lappeenranta. And I will start by briefly introducing the Sustainable Biogas project, where the object has been to promote the sustainability of biogas from water protection point of view by considering the whole production chain. In practice, this means that we have produced tools and proposals like guidelines for sustainable biogas production, which I will present a little later. And Pekka Paavilainen will talk about nutrient management plans for the 3 case regions we have had in the project. In the panel discussion, Anna Virolainen-Hynnä will discuss about the quality assurance schemes for digestate-based fertilizers. And in the project, we have also done an analysis of the management options for the sewage sludge and policy briefs for all 4 topics. The project partners are Jon Nurminen Foundation as the lead partner, and the other partners, Latvian Biogas Association, Finnish Biocycle and Biogas Association, Latvian State Environmental Services, and Center for Economic Development, Transport and the Environment of Southwest Finland. And the project has been running from spring 2020 and ending this fall. And we are happy to have Interreg Central Baltic program as our financier. Then about the guidelines for sustainable nutrient management. These guidelines have been done to help both the biogas operators and the authorities responsible for permitting and supervising the biogas plants. The guidelines aim to minimize nutrient load from the whole production chain, from storage and transport, from the use of digestates, from disturbances and accidents, as well as from treatment of wastewaters in biogas stations or at municipal wastewater treatment plants. The most important challenges we have identified and which we are also addressing with the guidelines, they are the cooperation between operators and authorities, treatment and usage of digestates and reject waters, and in some cases also the feedstocks and digestate storages, both the structure and the capacity of the storages. Now some good practices to consider at the biogas plant. Nutrient management should be part of planning and permitting of biogas plant. Cooperation between authorities is very in permitting is needed, and also from the operators' plans or contracts for the use of digestates could be required. Good water management at biogas plants means impermeable surfaces at feedstock and digestate processing areas, enough storage, leakage zone for overflow situations, monitoring and regular maintenance. Adequate watertight storage should be located as far as possible from the water courses, and covered tanks should be used for rapidly degradable liquids and other materials. The capacity and condition of storages should be monitored. Means to minimize environmental effects of accidents include control systems for emergencies and procedures to control discharges. Then about the proposals to increase the cooperation between operators and authorities, which is very important. In the current EIA and permit processes, they do not take account the regional nutrient balance. So whether the biogas plant is planned on an area with nutrient deficit or surplus. The biogas plants in the surplus areas can also plan to receive their feedstocks from areas with nutrient deficit. And this can further distort the nutrient imbalance. It is quite common that plants use raw materials from outside their location, since biogas plants are expensive investments and their economic profitability improves as the plant size increases. So the authorities could recommend or guide the biogas operators to obtain raw materials, mainly from nutrient surplus areas. They could also ensure that the operators of the biogas plant understand whether they are sourcing their feedstocks from surplus or deficit areas and what the significance of this is for the environment. Creating incentives to process the digestates and especially creating markets for recycled fertilizers should be a common goal for all actors. It requires effective fertilizer legislation, R&D investments in product development, brand building of recycled fertilizers with the help of quality systems and communication activities. To decrease and prevent concentration on certain areas, the authorities could support the operators in finding sustainable use for the digestates. Also, training and sharing information about nutrient management and nutrient recycling to the operators handling biomasses are ways to improve the cooperation. Then I will very briefly tell you about the phosphorus sensitive agricultural areas. Unfortunately, there is one slide missing, but I will still explain that. So this is, my apologies, this is the wrong slide. The next one actually. But so the EU Water Framework Directive aims at achieving good status of all waters in EU by 2027. In German, the biggest problem is the nutrient surplus in certain agricultural areas due to concentration of livestock farming. And phosphorus is a minimum nutrient in both rivers and lakes and is limiting the production of blue-green algae, which is the same situation as in Finland. So to support the goals of the Water Framework Directive, Germany has made it statutory to define agricultural areas sensitive to eutrophication. We learn about this concept in our virtual study visit to Germany. And after that, a consultant, Vahanen Environment, conducted an analysis on whether the concept used in Lower Saxony, Germany, to determine phosphorus-sensitive agricultural areas could be used in Finland. And now we come to the criteria that is used in Germany, which you can see here. So there are three criteria. Agriculture is a significant source of nutrients. B, phosphorus content in surface waters exceeds the values set for good ecological status. And C, biological quality of the surface water is classified as worse than good. And all three criteria must be met for the area to be defined as sensitive, phosphorus sensitive area. At the picture, the areas that are marked yellow are those defined as phosphorus sensitive areas. And the areas in red are nitrate sensitive areas. And summary of this analysis that was done. The experiences from Germany are good. So this determination of areas sensitive to eutrophication has been effective in regional water protection. The consultant analysis in the project found out that Finland has sufficient knowledge and data to draw up national criteria, and it is recommended that Finland should also consider defining these areas. The goal of Water Framework Directive are common for the whole Europe. The concept of the sensitive areas for eutrophication could improve the water protection in other countries as well. And now I give the floor to Pekka Paavilainen. Thank you.
Thank you, Maija. I will continue with good nutrient management practices, and that is based on regional nutrient balances. We found that this poor nutrient management poses environmental risks, especially eutrophication of the Baltic Sea and of course other water bodies like lakes and rivers. So with good nutrient management, we can reduce runoff into water bodies and that way balance the nutrient load between nutrient surplus and deficit areas. And it's especially if we are ensuring that the nutrients are treated efficiently and used, especially where they are needed. And that's why we made regional nutrient management plans, because they are a way, sort of tool to overcome these challenges. But before the nutrient load can be balanced between regions, we need to know where the nutrients are formed and where they are used, because there are very many animal farms or municipal wastewater treatment plants or bio-waste treatment issues, and some bigger biogas producers also concentrate the nutrients. But the usage of nutrients, especially those recycled nutrients, is spread all over the agricultural land. So we need to appropriately manage digestate and other biomasses in biogas plants or other places, and we need to management the transport and farms better way than we do now. So we need some issues that need to be taken into consideration. The problem is that nutrient production concentrates to certain points, and it's not usually economically viable to spread them wider, because most of the nutrients are not really nutrient rich, but they contain quite a lot of water or other matter that doesn't really count as nutrients. But the need of fertilizers is not necessarily near the sources. So we made recommendations on how biogas operators should position their plants in order to help overcome the problem. Of course, the same issues cover also other point sources with nutrient-rich matter. But we need cooperation with biogas operators, planners, and regional permitting authorities. And we all need to consider in the process if the plant place is suitable for biogas plants. And there are several issues that can help the decision where the plant place should be. We need to know where there is available nutrient-rich raw material near the plant. Of course, we need to know the ecological status of the water bodies in the area. We need to know what is the receiving potential of the agricultural land for the recycled nutrients. And we need to know if the plant can process the nutrient-rich digestates to more manageable fertilizer products. In southwestern Finland, we did nutrient maps to cover those things. With these maps, we calculated with 5 kilometer per 5 kilometer squares all the issues that need to know. We calculated how much material there is, like manure, wastewater sludge, bio-waste, organic industrial waste, and agricultural side streams. And so we know how much and what kind of matter is produced in every 5 per 5 kilometer square. And then we calculated or checked what kind of plants is used in that square, what kind of are there grains or some root matter or whatever, because every plant needs different kind of nutrients. And then with those matter, we could calculate the balance. In this map, we show the map balance of phosphorus according to plant needs. And as you can see, there are very dark brown squares where there is much more nutrient-rich organic matter than the usage. And when there is very light squares, then there is more agriculture than organic nutrient-rich material. So with this, we can show that where there is dark square, the biogas plant should be put there, and especially if there are very light areas in the area where there is deficit of phosphorus, then that's the best place for biogas plants. And that's one way to think where the biogas plants or other fertilizer producing plants should be situated. And with these maps and other things that we did in the project, we made some policy briefs on how to make nutrient management better. First, we need to raise awareness of nutrient management. People not necessarily know what is the best way to treat nutrient-rich material, but it's still one long way to go until everyone is aware of this. Then we need to make a better balance between production and usage, and that's especially where the nutrient maps come in handy. And then we need to make digested processes further so that fertilizers will be more available for farmers or raw material to industry. And then we need to make sure that fertilizers are not used too much, so that they are used according to plant needs and the soil properties. And then we need to create markets for recycled fertilizers so that all the farmers or other fertilizer users know what kind of fertilizers they can get, and they can balance their fertilizer need with the best possible fertilizer. And then we need a cooperation between operators, all kinds of operators and authorities. And with this cooperation, we need to know what kind of nutrient balances are in the area. Before the plant is built, we need to know in the planning stages and the permitting stages. And in the end, recycled nutrients are not at the moment economically as good as artificial fertilizers. So we at the moment need some kind of support mechanism for transporting nutrients from surplus to deficit areas. And that's for now all we need to show from this side, but please feel free if you have any questions. Maija or I will try to answer that. Are there any questions in the chat box?
There are no questions in the chat box so far, but maybe I have one. So how these guidelines and other project materials have been received by authorities and operators?
During this project, the operators, biogas plant operators, were quite understanding and willing to help us with this project. And I think in the future, there will be quite a lot of cooperation between authorities and biogas operators. And with the project, all the results that we have are at the moment in Finland, there is going to be some kind of incentives for some kind of funding for biogas operators for making the digestate more processed fertilizers. At the moment, it's on the planning stage what kind of funding it's going to be, and it's going to need some kind of legislation changes in order to make that happen. But probably next year we will have some kind of funding for biogas operators. And we have talked with ministries about this, and they were willing to listen to our proposals concerning this nutrient management, and nutrient maps can be one source of how the funding should be spread throughout Finland. Okay, if there are no more questions.
Yeah, one question from Laura Sayonmaa. Did your project explore how the EU taxonomy regulation / technical screening criteria or DNSH criteria define biogas production as sustainable? And if so, do you support these criteria?
No, I don't. No, we didn't consider that. Okay, then I think I'll end the presentation. And
unless we have any other questions, no. In that case, I think we can move on, and next we will have a presentation of Virginia.
please.
You said that you want to share your slides by yourself.
Yes, I will try to share in order to be able to navigate them. So one moment, hopefully it will work well.
Yes, we can see it.
And you see full screen mode, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so
you're welcome.
Yes, so thank you for invitation and opportunity to share results of our project, Baltic Biomass for Value, financed by Interreg, Baltic Sea Region Program. And I will overview the main results. Oh, one moment. I will overview the of the project, and as this session is focused on biogas production issues, so I will try to also highlight findings in this area. Our project, this Baltic Biomass for Value, stands for unlocking the potential of biomass value chains in the Baltic Sea region. And we worked for the purpose to increase capacity of public and private actors to produce sustainable bioenergy by utilizing new biomass sources for energy purposes, and as well as we explore opportunities to utilize biomass for and side streams of biomass production for higher value novel bio-based products. Our project began in January 2019 and ended last year, December 2021. So this project is finalized. Here is the people behind this project and institutions that were involved in this project, and we were 17 organizations from 8 countries, actually very few countries were missing in our consortium from the Baltic Sea region. And in these few missing, it was also Finland. We didn't have partner from this country. So hopefully in next projects we will do. And the consortium was built from organizations with various profiles, including national and regional public authorities, sectorial agencies, business associations, competence centers, research and academic institutions, and those possessed a broad range of expertise in the bioeconomy field and respectively large circle of contacts with their network. And we integrated actually all the analysis and insights that we elaborated in various events into what we call e-tools. So these are available, and for each part I provide link that you can visit. So one of the parts and what we focused on is business model. Business model innovations. We collected around 50 good practice examples how biomass is utilized in the Baltic Sea region countries. And then leading Estonian team elaborated 12 business models. And these were based on various actually biomass sources, and from agriculture and from forestry, and with different resulting products. What is displayed, just to get some insights. So there is, for instance, model for circular bioeconomy in agriculture production, and this business model describes how activities could be organized and how this what technologies, partnerships could be included to generate value added and reach customers, and to balance costs and revenues. And here is few examples that cases that we provide to showcase innovation and novelty. So one is from Sweden, Energifabriken, which several families of agriculture business involved in agriculture business developed actually a biofuel business, and there is a farm with circular economy. I will elaborate more on this example, but also, as I mentioned, we were focusing on novel products, and one of the example is these businesses dealing with product innovation. And here is a startup from Germany, Coffee Form, which develops coffee cups from remainings of coffee. And yes, so it's very how to say, circular economy could be also a niche for those with high capital and owning bioresources, but also for startups. And this particular case was developed by students in chemistry. So second part of our e-tools that we left to be used after the project is various calculators of biomass potential, focusing on what's available in our region. So it's straw and penetrative energy crops, manure, slurry, and there can be estimated, based on region or a farm or a holding of farms, what you can actually generate from these sources. Some more tools for kickstart of projects, business projects and businesses, some calculators to project revenues and costs. And also what we did, we developed a training program for public authorities, introducing this circular economy concepts, also how it could be supported, by which policy measures it could be supported. And we as all actually Interact projects, we dedicated our efforts to disseminate this knowledge and engaged organizations in the development of these reports and cases. So at the end of the project, we managed to have more than 500 organizations involved in various formats. It's local workshops and trainings and some transnational conference and matching events and so on. And most of the audience, and we focused on them, is from business sector, more than a half of the organization involved, those actually dealing with biomass production and utilization. Now, what we have in biogas field, its production outlook and perspective. So what we can say, it was a study led by Norwegian team. So we looked what are the importance of biomass in the energy sector, and we can say that at least numbers show that actually biomass for energy increased in last decade close to 40%, although it mostly 2 1/3 is solid biofuel. But what we can say that the biogas production in the Baltic Sea region countries increased significantly, more than 200%, and reaching about 50% of the bioenergy consumption, and not only this, but also contributing to the green gas emissions reduction from waste and agricultural residuals. And actually, the forecasts that were completed in this study shows that the biogas production should, for the energy, heat, and electricity sector, should increase in coming years. And now we have actually large restructuring of our energy system in Lithuania, taking consideration this geopolitical situation. So perspectives, how to say, there is opportunities in this sector, although as you can see, countries are quite different in how much biomass they use for energy, and in particular biogas, which is more prominent in Germany and Latvia, for instance. And the capacity in our region, we can say that it's our biogas plants in the Baltic Sea region countries constitute 70% of all biogas plants in the EU, but it's actually correct to note that most of them are based in Germany, and we actually have had also from Lower Saxony partners in our project that are very advanced in this area and in technologies that they are developing. So we can learn, but actually we can, looking at this the structure of biogas plants by type and what resource they are based, we can say that yes, as driven by Germany, most are agricultural based, but we have examples, for instance, in Estonia, which more than a half biogas plants are landfill-based, and some countries with significant share of sewage sludge-based biogas plants, and few in the Scandinavia use biogas from terminal processes. And the final consumption is also varies across the country, so we can definitely learn something about technologies. For instance, in the corner you can see, like in transport, end use. Sweden can be a good example to look into how to develop this segment. And for the showcase of these business models and how they can be supported, I selected, as mentioned, one farm in Lithuania, in Latvia. It's as Ziedi JP. And it's yes, so this is just to show how it could be transferable in other countries. So it's a farm with around 100 employees. It's large farm, and you can see how different activities are integrated to close the loop. They are actually, main activity is cultivation of grain and oil crops, dairy farming, but they integrated biogas production from slurry to generate heat and electricity, and this heat that is generated is used for growing fish, and also other byproducts of the biogas production, as the digestate is also used for fertilization. Some agricultural services are provided, so it's like a complex of activities are developed to actually use all the resources as efficient as possible. And actually these, from the policy development perspective, as we would like to have this transition to circular bioeconomy, it's quite complex. And actually, it requires a set of policy measures to support, because yes, this transition needs investment, and in particular, this farm invested more than 10 million euros into the circular production development. But there is also fiscal and regulatory and even societal measures which this case owners, managers of the company considers important for their transition. And it's also, and it's as it's displayed here, and it's and some taxation, loans and guarantees for rural entrepreneurs, development of advisory services. Also in regulatory sphere, there is this improvement and regulation on the manure management systems. Also, they benefited from green procurement, feed-in tariffs for renewable electricity and combined heat and power production. Also from in societal sphere, from this sharing of knowledge and skills for understanding this bio-based market, and actually what technologies are available. So as in all parts that I presented, there is links to respective reports that we produce. So this is my very brief introduction overview of what we were working on and what we left after the implementation of the project, and some example from biogas area. And I suggest for us to keep in touch, and if you have any further questions or cooperation opportunities, would like that I would match you with some partners of our project, so just contact me via email, and I will follow up on that. Yes, I will stop presenting. Yes.
So thank you for a really interesting presentation. Do we have any questions there in the chat box? No, apparently. So maybe I can ask then, so since the project has already ended, what are the further topics in the area of circular bioeconomy?
Yes, so we in the project actually identified some areas and with partners some needs to work further because the transition is not over. So now we are working actually with some partners, Baltic partners, and including Nordregio, Swedish institution, on industrial symbiosis, bio-based industrial symbiosis in municipalities. And actually, municipalities are quite interesting how to map their bioresources available to be used. And actually, your project that you presented also is quite useful. I think the approach quite useful to have this environmental aspect as well, not just we more worked on resources, economic aspects, but also this environmental aspects, which would be nice to incorporate. And so yes, so this more to support this mapping, local mapping, because the resources are local, and it's actually it would be good to use them without traveling much. Also, as you also mentioned, this cooperation, it's also important, and we are thinking that something could be done in this area. We had some exercises to match, for instance, those waste owners with technology providers or potential investors. So it's also accelerates circular bioeconomy. So also a topic that that could be addressed further. Yeah.
Thank you. So no more questions. I think we can move on, and the next part will be the panel discussion part. Thank you, Virginia. I can start by shortly introducing our panelists. We have Veli-Pekka Reskola, a senior officer from the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Anna Virolainen-Hynnä, an executive director from the Finnish Biocycle and Biogas Association, and Rauni Karjala from Gasum, and she's a senior sales manager. And Pekka Paavelainen will lead the panel discussion. So I will hand over the stage back to Pekka and ask the panelists to put the microphone and cameras on. Thank you.
Thank you, Henri. Now, can Anna also put the camera and the microphone on? Okay, good. Okay, welcome all for this panel. We have some more time than we thought previously, but it's better so that you can discuss things, and the audience are free to ask questions through the chat box. First, I would like to ask some questions to all of you, and then later questions that are addressed to some of you. First, since energy prices have risen strongly, do you see significant growth potential in biogas production? Please feel free to answer, whoever is first.
Okay, if I start as a biogas producer.
Yes.
So clearly the economical drivers, they support growth of biogas production. And we can see also in Finland a lot of small and big, larger biogas projects ongoing. They are both in design and in building phases. But we have to see that biogas plant is also a big investment, and operation time is over 20 years. So profitability of the biogas plants should be evaluated also based on the future energy prices when we have the normal level again, and the normal price level most probably will not be the same as it used to be before the war.
Yes, I agree. So that at the moment the prices for energy are high, and prices for naturally also for fertilizers. But what will it be in future? But it's let's say so that it's a bit insecure to make an investment right now, because also the prices for building materials are high, so that there has to be some very good planning behind, and also to be aware of the risks that are involved. But at the moment, let's say, I think it is a rather good time for biogas production. So both the interests and also the possibilities are very good in that sector.
How about Anna?
Yes, I agree with other panelists that there is a very good growth potential. Indeed, biogas is a national source of energy. It's often locally produced. It is linked to the food chain, food security issues. So there are multiple reasons why it is one of the solutions, not the only, but one of the solutions. And when you look at the political discussions taking place now in Finland at the EU level, actually biomethane and biogas are mentioned there. So I believe that the current situation is indeed strengthening the role of our sector, but it remains to see how actually this political willingness is put in action, and these decisions are made coming weeks, coming months, some of the decisions next year. But now is a very good situation, and biogas is among the solutions.
Good. Do you think there is enough biomass in Finland for biogas production, and will there be less used biomasses such as bio-waste be available for biogas production in the future? Rauni, please answer.
Yeah. I was last week in a seminar that was a big discussion about these bio-wastes, and during the last 20-30 years it has not increased in bio-waste, household bio-waste, so that there is still 25 to 30% of bio-waste in the mixed waste, in household waste. But it's a challenging issue because you can educate people, but so far it has not been very successful, and you can make recycling easier and easier, but you cannot force people. So I don't know. So the potential is, but I don't know how to reach it. And actually, I made a tweet about it during the seminar, and there was a heavy discussion about it. That yes, it is because there is not enough household bio-waste. And as the original question is that how to get that. and nobody has the answer. But there is also unused potential in agricultural biomasses and in industrial side streams. That's also an other fact, and I believe more in that. And there is more to be done in this sense. But it goes back to the energy prices when they are going now to some other uses, so that should they go to biogas production too?
What do you think, Veli-Pekka?
Yes, I agree again. The bio-waste is, of course, there is. It should be used all the available bio-waste, but the collecting is not that easy, and also to change the habits of the people actually. So there is a big challenge in that area, but maybe some kind of mixture between benefits and some other ways to make people or put people more towards recycling and that kind of things. Hopefully there will be some ways to do that, but I agree that it's those things that are done in agriculture and in industry, they are easier, but there is also limits in there. So in some places, in all these areas, the limits are maybe not very near, but then comes also the questions about sustainability and things like that. So that it's always there's lot of work to find a balance between profitability and the sustainability and also the that what are really smart ways to do things. But we'll hope that there is some possibilities to work with in future also.
Okay. What do you think, Anna?
We believe that there is enough biomass to increase biogas, biomethane production in Finland. Annually, around 17 million tons organic waste suitable for biogas production is generated, and of course the biggest share is manure, and then second biggest masses are agricultural side products and wastes, and like municipal waste, bio waste, sewage sludge, they represent smaller volumes. But when you look at the biogas production statistics now, actually most of the biogas in Finland is produced out of bio waste, sewage sludge, and landfill gases. So not actually that much out of agri biomasses. And what comes to the bio waste, we see that there is a bigger potential in particularly in industrial biowastes, but there is also potential in municipal biowastes. We have estimated that around 200 gigawatt hours could be produced more out of municipal biowaste than is done at the moment in 2030.
Good. And now the two targeted questions, although they are targeted, but after the one who is asked, the others can add something if they want. First to Veli-Pekka, how do you see the market for recycled fertilizers developing in the future?
I think it's growing, and at the situation that we have now with the chemical or chemical fertilizers or the mineral fertilizers, then there is a growing interest among farmers and other users for using recycled fertilizers. So it shows even in the contacts that are made to us in the ministry, so that there are more and more questions. So how will is it possible to use them, and how they the production of these fertilizers is developed and so. And luckily both we and the Ministry of Environment have started already earlier some programs that are aimed to develop these recycled fertilizers, and also like Nurmia and other actors in the field are also done very good work with that. So that we are. From my point of view, there's very positive views in this future development. So now, as we know, the mineral fertilizers, you are lucky if you even get them, and that sells. Increases the interest for the other kind of fertilizers and organic fertilizers even more. So I think we have a very at the moment very good future possibilities in this area.
Okay, do any other have anything to add to this?
Yes,
or other opinions? Yes,
yes,
please.
I have. Especially for nitrogen, I believe that we have come to the stage where we are developing the we call digestate products to the level that it's enough for usage. And I would like not to talk only about fertilizers, but nutrients generally. We have one case it's in Turku, where we are producing ammonia product, and I have been in my past selling ammonia water that was 25%, and now we can get 15% nitrogen level, and it goes to industry, and it has to go to some place where is needed that pure material. So in my opinion, we are going to the stage that both industry and farmers, they looked at how much you must develop your product, how clean it must be, because each stage also costs money. So that the lowest possible investment product goes to the place where it's needed. If it's enough for agriculture, that it comes directly from biogas plants, it has nitrogen and phosphorus and organic material, and it goes directly, then it's okay. And we have to see also in industry, we see some areas where we are discussing about using the completely normal reject water from biogas plants. This is very interesting development. And now we really get the value for the recycled products that we need, that they earn.
So in the future, people are fighting for the digestate products.
Yeah, I don't know what is a year, but still somewhere in the horizon.
Well, good points. I could add that indeed the interest in recycled nutrients has grown in the past half a year in particularly. And someone might think that, okay, all the problems solved, but that's not actually true. We still need to really work hard to increase both the supply and demand of recycled nutrients. And what comes to the demand and supply sides, product development is very important so that our solutions can better meet the needs of the customers. So we still need to work.
Yes. So Rauni, you partly answered the next question, but will nutrient recycling become a significant source of income for biogas producers at some point, or is it is the production of recycled fertilizers rather part of the management of the entire production chain and waste treatment? Do you see big economic?
Let's say so that that was a hope that I said I wish. So that looking from the circular economy perspective, the value creation should start by itself, but as Anna said, the market has to develop a lot, and it will. And as I mentioned, the refining of nutrient products will develop and increase a lot, and especially the use of nitrogen products will see a big change, as I told you. But so far it's a management. We hope that it will be business, but not in a very short run. And still we see that the energy price will still be the driver of the biogas plants. But on the other hand, the biogas plant cannot operate without digestive market, so they will go hand in hand. Still management. Pity to say.
Okay. True. Any other opinions? Okay,
Nothing.
Then we continue. Anna, is there still a need for additional measures to increase the market demand for recycled nutrients, for like quota applications for recycled phosphorus and recycled nitrogen in mineral fertilizers, or through taxation or communication activities?
Yes, as I told in my previous that there is still a lot of things to do in order to get well-functioning markets for recycled nutrients. And before going for additional measures, I would like to mention that the investment aids that Veli-Pekka mentioned that are now available for both for new investments and for research and development activities, they are very important, and I believe that we need them also in the future. That's for sure, in order to raise the development level of products. And also, when you look at the production, it is also very important that the facilities can utilize the lower electricity tax rate that they have now, and which is also available for other industrial activities. So that's important to keep also in the future. So that was about the production and electricity taxation. And what comes to the additional measures, yes, there is needs to investigate whether there is still needs to do some additional measures, like fiscal measures, in addition what we are having now. And regarding quota application, Ministry of Environment is currently having a project where they are investigating whether this kind of quota application could be utilized to boost the use of recycled materials, recycled content in different materials, and nutrients are in the scope of this project as well, together with plastic, textile, and so on. And it is good. And so for us, it's still too early to say whether we would need this kind of quota application. If it doesn't raise cost for farmers, if it will boost the national recycled the use of nationally produced recycled nutrients, and it doesn't increase the imports of such a material, then it sounds like a good option. But at least some sort of national target for the use of recycled nutrients would be very useful to set a little bit longer term vision for the use. So these are our thoughts at the moment, what additional measures could be done.
Can Veli-Pekka say something about what is the ministry's opinion of these quotas or some additional measures that are planned?
Yes, I've heard lots of discussions about these quotas and discussed myself also. But let's say so that there are lots of ifs in before it's can be taken or started that kind of quota system, and all those ifs that Anna told and some others also there. So it has to be, if the system will be taken or used in some in Finland in some way, then there is has to be we have to be sure that it doesn't bring any that it doesn't contain any big risks, those for the farmers and also for example for environment, and those that Anna mentioned were good examples of those that has to be discussed. But we have to find some ways to increase the use of organic fertilizers and recycled fertilizers, and that's one possibility for that.
For biogas producers, what would be the sort of best
Let's say so
additional measure for increasing recycled fertilizers?
Unfortunately, I don't have any solution. I have a thing that I have been thought a lot. For the first, we have studied these biomasses and fertilizers very much, so that there is a lot of data available, and also about their safety. But one thing I have thought very, actually many years already, when you have these quotas and you think that you make some regulations or some measures for the farmers, but farmers are not in the driver's seat in these, because they are selling their product somewhere. And how you can put some measures or something for the industries that are buying from the farmers, so that farmers are not in the key role here. They are doing, because they are selling their products also to the industries, and if industry set some rules, and if you're a small farmer and big industry, it's very little you can do if you have sold your seeds to the same place for decades. Sorry for sharing this.
No problem.
Good points.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And also like how flexible state aid rules are when it comes to the instruments like this. It can be also pretty complicated to try to match all different instruments together. But in Finland, we indeed have very good experience of biofuel delivery obligation. But it's very good that this is under research now by the Ministry of Environment.
Could Rauni continue? According to your practical experience, what factors interest customers in recycled nutrients? Is there anything that worries them?
At the moment, it's about the price and availability. So as it was said several times, the situation has changed a lot during this year, so that we are in some places running out. And then also suitability for ecological production. I don't know how you say luomu in English, but it's for this ecological production. That's something that is also interesting. And in the industries, they are interested generally about circular economy and emission reduction. Industry has very, very clear goals, and they are going in that direction. And worries are how to keep the even quality for recycled products. And as Anna was referring, possible other restrictions coming from the market. So if they vary, that they see as a risk or worry.
And of course, you try to decrease that risk by making the fertilizers universal, so to say. It's every load is the same, more or less the same, and you can show exactly what kind of is there any harmful substances, and of course that's important for the farmers. What do others think if there are risks that end users are worried about?
Well, quite often is that was also already mentioned by Rauni, this that those where companies where the farmers sell their products, they may set such limits that are going beyond, for example, legislation, so Finnish legislation, so that they are tighter than that. The tightest point is there, so that when a farmer is asked what did he use as fertilizer, then in some cases, especially if there are some industrial wastes among the raw materials for biogas production, then especially the problems tend to rise up in some cases. But well, that's something that has to be remembered, both the farmers and the biogas producers.
How do you see the situation?
Not much to add, but of course, end users and in general, in publicly, the assumptions of the quality of recycled materials and fertilizer can be quite much based on what have happened in the past. So what is good quality? Is it safe to use? These kind of things are often discussed, and the users and stakeholders are bringing these questions to the table. But I believe that better communication, joint actions from the sector would be very useful to improve the image of recycled fertilizer as well. That is needed.
Okay. As you talked about quality in Finland, we have this quality assurance system called laatulannoite. Is that a tool that can be used to promote nutrient recycling? And can that concept be used more widely throughout the whole European Union? Anna, please.
Thanks. Yes, this national quality assurance system is called laatulannoite, and it is voluntary to use. It's open for all the producers, and same kind of systems are available and existing in other EU countries as well. But now the EU fertilizer product regulation is making it more or less mandatory for some of the producers. So that is also leading to the situation that in Finland also the legislation is changing, and so-called fertilizer quality management national act or regulation is under development at the moment, and it's not yet clear for us, for the sector, what kind of requirements it will finally give, what will change, what will be changed. So, but the national laatulannoite system is like meets the general requirements that are at least given at the EU fertilizer product regulation. So in that respect, that is the system that actually all the Finnish producers, that kind of system they need to start using, not this wild approach that we are having. Our system is giving stricter requirements on controlling, reporting, and for the heavy metal content in the final product and so on. So this is very, very much broader than the legislation is having now, and also it will be in the future. But I believe that the Finnish laatulannoite system could be developed more to meet the need of having joint actions from the sector. So to be the quality system, but also to be like to share information about the quality aspect of recycled nutrients. So that is one of the options where we are planning to develop the system. But it is up, it is running, it is constantly under development, and it is meeting the needs that the new updated legislation is asking in 1 or 2 years from all the producers.
Then to Veli-Pekka, how will the new phosphorus regulation in Finland affect the use of recycled nutrients? For example, the limits of phosphorus use in landscaping.
Well, it certainly is tighter than it used to be, let's say so. But on the other hand, there hasn't been up until now, or up until the new legislation, it has been rather free, from my point of view, that it has been easy place to put some nutrient-rich masses, biomasses or other masses, and so that's the main reason why the limit will be there, so that if we think about where the nutrients go from to waterways or sea. It's a part of the system, those landscaping areas, and they are also so naturally they have to be in other ways also safe than not only if you look of phosphorus or nitrogen, but also the other things like hormones and pathogens, but that's naturally part of the big picture there. So let's say so that there will be the rules and limits will be tighter in future, but it's something that has been or at least I have thought that it will be coming in some time, and the landscape management people and also the producers of those biomasses that are used there, they have to get used to that. Of course, there is the limits discussion about if they are too tight or not tight enough, then that will continue. But it's a situation. I think it's good. My personal view is. It makes things difficult, more difficult for many sites, but it's necessary for environment. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time for the end of the.
I'd like to comment.
Yeah. Okay. Please. Please.
When I have the opportunity here. Sorry.
Yes. Please.
So. We have been concerned about some parts, and that has been that how much of the phosphorus is regarded as soluble phosphorus. So that's that we cannot make so that it may cause us some difficulties. But let's see. And the other thing is that generally, as I stated in one of my answers here, that without a way out for the digestate, there is not biogas production. So that naturally, when you are stating the laws, you have the power, but still, if it goes to if the decision will lead to the fact that we cannot use digestate in landscaping, it has to be a conscious decision, and not the decision that comes, or not the fact that comes from another decision.
Okay.
Yes,
I got the opportunity.
yes. Shortly. Yes, we share the worries that Rauni pointed out. Well, we haven't seen the final proposal, and that hasn't yet decided. So let's see what will be the final regulation. But it is good that it is under in the process now, that it's coming, and many of our concerns has been taken into account in the development, which is good. So let's hope that it will work, and if not, let's let's fix it again. But it's good, it's coming.
Okay, thank you very much for all the panelists, and I give floor to Henrik, please.
Thank you.
So it's time for the thank you slide. And thank you one more time for the panelists. The discussion was really interesting, and we heard a lot of important and different perspectives regarding the biogas production and nutrient recycling. Unfortunately, the time is limited, and we are reaching the end of the event. Do we have any questions, Maya, in the chat box? No. So I want to take this opportunity to advertise our project websites, both our Sustainable Biogas project and Baltic Biomass for Value. You can find more information from about the projects and about today's topics behind those links. And that's all. Thank you very much for all of you, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.